Guys, you know how bad the Cowboys defense was last season. Like, it was rough, and everybody saw it. So, the Cowboys made a major adjustment, brought in a new, young, fresh defensive coordinator in Christian Parker. And honestly, this is probably the most important move of the entire offseason because he's the engine of this whole train. But now, what's next, right? I mean, he's not going to go out there and play by himself. He needs pieces around him. And look, he's got them. New veterans, young draft picks, some intriguing second-year players who could genuinely take a leap. But at the same time, this defense still has a lot of projection, a lot of injury concerns, and honestly, not as many proven blue-chip players as some people out here want to believe. So today, I'm going to take an honest look at Christian Parker's defense. Not the hype version, not the everybody is a future star version. We're talking about what this unit actually has. Who the true difference makers are, who the reliable starters are, which players are just rotational pieces, and where the major questions still remain. What's up, Cowboys? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Cowboys. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. All right, so let's start up front with the defensive line. First guy on the docket, Quinnen Williams, the defensive tackle we traded for. I have this guy as a blue chipper. He came out of Alabama and has just been phenomenal. When he got out there, you saw the immediate impact. Crushing the pocket, disrupting everything in front of him. Now, the fair counter argument is that he helped stop the run early and then we fell off. I get that. But for me, Quinnen Williams is a blue chipper and I'm standing on that. Then you got Otito Ogbonnia, the big free agent, one tech. The guy is 6'3", 320 pounds. He was rotational with the Chargers, and honestly, that's what he is here too. Most one-techs are rotational. You're not going to run a 300-pound guy out there 3 downs in a row. He can be effective in the right situations, but rotational is the right call. Then Kenny Clark, starter quality, no question. He came over as part of that big trade, and he's absolutely a guy you can count on. Rashan Gary coming in from Green Bay, same thing, starter quality. Rushing the passer off the edge, giving you versatility in the 3-4. This guy can play. Now, DeMarvion Overshown, man, I want to love this guy. I really do, but he cannot stay healthy, bro. He's in his contract year right now, and you're sitting here wondering if this is finally the year he puts it together, because there are real flashes when he's on the field. But the concussions, the different injuries, it's been beyond frustrating. I have him as rotational quality because he just hasn't shown enough sustained play to move the needle up. And then there's the David Mulligetta situation off the field, which honestly doesn't help his case either. Donovan Ezeiruaku, rotational for now. He came and hyped off 16 sacks in college, and what actually showed up was a solid run defender, which was kind of the opposite of what everybody expected. He got around 3 sacks as a rookie. But that run-stopping ability, I want to see more of it. This is a huge year for him. If he can stay consistent and start converting those pressures into sacks, give me 8 to 10. He could go from rotational all the way to blue chip in 1 year. I'm dead serious about that. Then the Winters, the linebacker we picked up from San Francisco in that draft day trade, undersized at 5'11", had 1 big year filling in for Warner, showed some splash plays, but misses tackles and was inconsistent before that. Rotational quality. I don't think you really want him out there as a 3-down linebacker every single snap. Then, DaRon Bland. That foot injury has just been nagging him. He got paid and hasn't been the same since. When he's healthy, he can give you something, but he's become a when-healthy guy, and when you're a when-healthy guy, you're unreliable. Rotational quality for me, and I can honestly see the mediocre argument too. He's really fallen off. Now, Jalen Thompson, honestly, this is one I'm genuinely excited about. He was the biggest free agent acquisition of this offseason for the defense, starter quality, and I think he might even have the potential to be one of those green dot communicator types on the back end. He was really good coming out of Washington and turned things around after some issues coming out of college. Compared to what we had at safety before, it's night and day. Massive upgrade. Malik Hooker, I'll be real, I've never been a huge fan. He's been mediocre for most of his NFL career, and he stays hurt. He took a pay cut, but he's teetering on being a bubble player at this point. They drafted Caleb Downs and added safeties in undrafted free agency. Don't be shocked if Malik Hooker ends up being a surprise cut before the season. It's been talked about before. It could happen. Now, Caleb Downs, the first-round pick, number 11 overall, out of Ohio State, blue chipper, full stop. This guy was lining people up and calling out plays before they happened in college. And people forget, Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles getting drafted high? Part of what made those guys look so good was Caleb Downs putting them in the right position to make plays. That football IQ at this level is invaluable. Cerebral players make up for a lot, and I think Caleb Downs is going to be the best of that entire draft class at his position. Then our second pick of the first round, Malachi Lawrence, starter quality, getting thrown into the fire early, and there's real room to grow in this system. Jaishawn Barham, the linebacker out of Michigan. This might be my favorite player on the whole defense right now. Big, physical, downhill linebacker. We haven't had a linebacker with this kind of size in a long time. He blitzes up the middle, he tackles through you, and don't be surprised if he ends up as our middle linebacker. I genuinely think he could jump from starter to blue chipper before this season's over if he duplicates what he showed at Michigan. Shemar James, rotational, and I want to give him a real shot in Christian Parker's system. He's going to get time this year, especially with how much DeMarvion Overshown tends to miss. The versatility he brings is something this staff clearly values, and in a new scheme like this, guys who can play multiple spots tend to stick around and earn snaps. Siobhan Revel, rotational right now. That knee brace has been a thing, and he came back a little weak in his return last year. Look, I'm not writing him off, but he needs to actually get out there in preseason and play football. You can't bubble wrap this guy all offseason or he's going to fall completely off the map. The talent is there when he's right. The question is whether that knee holds up. Reddy Stewart at Nickelback, I have him on the bubble, honestly. I thought he would have played better last season. He might be in real trouble with this new staff because they've got their own guys now. His spot is not safe, and I wouldn't be shocked to see someone push him out before week 1. Sam Williams, mediocre, and that's being fair to him. The penalties keep coming, the inconsistency keeps coming, and I think they bench him again at some point this season. He gives you something in case of injury, and he's been around long enough to know the system, but his ceiling right now is mediocre. Kalen Carson, mediocre as well. Honestly, I think he just sneaks onto the roster by default, unless they add more bodies at that position. Devin Moore is my sleeper on this whole defense. The tape is genuinely good. It's just the injuries in college that keep raising flags. With the question marks around Donovan Bland and Siobhan Revel, if Devin Moore stays healthy this season, he could quietly become a real contributor. Keep an eye on that one. Zion Childress is my other sleeper. Looked good before he got hurt in preseason last year. Went to the Texans, they cut him, Cowboys brought him back on the practice squad. With all the question marks in the secondary, don't be surprised if Zion Childress earns himself real playing time this year. I'm a fan of his, and I think the opportunity is right there in front of him. So, when you step back and look at this whole defense honestly, we've got maybe 1.5 blue chippers. I have Quinnen Williams and Caleb Downs there. Our reliable starters are Kenny Clark, Rashan Gary, Jalen Thompson, Malachi Lawrence, and Jaishawn Barham. That's actually a decent group when you line them up. But then there's a whole lot of rotational pieces, injury concerns, and bubble players filling out the rest of this roster. People are out here calling this defense Super Bowl caliber, and I don't see it yet. Not yet. We drafted 30 players on defense before this draft, and only 8 of them were still on the team. That tells you everything about what went wrong before. This coaching staff has a tall task in front of them, not just recruiting talent, but actually developing it. I think Christian Parker genuinely did a good job building his staff, and bringing in a pass rush specialist to work with Donovan Ezeiruaku is a smart move. But this is phase 1 of a rebuild. This is not a finished product. Realistically, I think this defense ends up somewhere between 15 and 20 in the league rankings. That's still a massive jump from where we were, and it's real progress. But it requires a lot of things to go right. DeMarvion Overshown staying healthy, Ezeiruaku taking that leap, the young secondary developing, and Christian Parker actually getting the most out of these pieces. If this staff could do what previous staffs couldn't, actually develop the players they draft, then next year we're having a completely different conversation. The 2027 draft class is going to be something too, and there's another wave of free agents Christian Parker likes coming down the line. This thing is building, guys. But right now, with this roster, it's a lot of projection and hope mixed in with some real pieces. And I think that's the honest truth of where this defense stands heading into the season.